Have you ever felt like your parents are controlling your every move? Like even friendship and music can suddenly become a crime? My name is Jake, I'm 17, and I live in a small town just outside Dallas, Texas. On the surface, we look like a normal family, mom, dad, and me. But inside our house, there's a tension no neighbor could ever see. A week ago, I did something simple. I invited two friends over so I could cut their hair. Yeah, it sounds silly. We just laughed, played music, and experimented with hairstyles. When they left, I went to my mom and said, I need to talk to you. We went into my room, and that's when she told me the words that flipped my life upside down. Your father is furious. At first, I didn't understand why. But then mom explained, my dad thinks my friends might be dangerous, like the kind of people who kill others for their beliefs. That's when I realized a storm was coming. See, my dad isn't just strict. He lives in a world where every friend or concert is a potential threat. Last weekend, we already had a huge fight. I went to a punk concert in Austin. One guy flipped off my dad's Cybertruck in the parking lot. When I came home, my dad absolutely exploded. He screamed, insulted me and my friends, called them homophobic and dangerous. And then he said something that still echoes in my head. People who go to concerts like that eventually turn into terrorists. That's the path to violence. I stood there listening, not believing what I was hearing. Since then, things have only gone downhill. I try to think, okay, we're different. We have different political views. But can't we just live and let live? Turns out, no. Dad started forbidding me from leaving the house. Forbidding my friends. Forbidding concerts. He says I have to earn freedom and wash off the propaganda. And the scariest part, he believes I have to support Trump just to have the right to live like a teenager. I'm not a perfect son. We never had warm talks, not since I turned 13. But I always hoped that maybe just once we could talk honestly. No jilling. No mom whispering what he should say to me. Now I just sit in my room thinking, how do I get my freedom back? Mom tells me, just agree. Go along with him. It's the only way to keep peace. But is that really living? Or does it mean losing myself? So here I am, stuck between two choices. Give in and live by his rules, or fight for freedom even if it destroys whatever's left of our relationship. But how? He avoids direct conversations. He talks to me through mom, like I'm a little kid. And in my head, one thought keeps repeating, what if this is my last year of freedom before I turn 18, and it's already ruined? I thought it couldn't get any worse. But then something happened that I never saw coming. Now I'm filled with a mix of anger and despair. I lost my music, my friends, my freedom. I live in a house where my father sees me as an enemy just because I think differently. And all I want is one honest conversation. So tell me, Reddit, should I give in and agree for the sake of peace? Or should I fight for my freedom, even if it means breaking things with my dad forever? The next day, my mom came into my room again. She was holding a mug of coffee, and the air smelled like cinnamon, her habit of adding a little spice in the mornings. She sat on the edge of my bed and whispered quietly, Jake, you have to talk to your father yourself. Otherwise, things at home will get even worse. I looked at her and said, but how? He doesn't even listen to me. He only speaks through you. Mom sighed, and in her eyes, I caught something that looked a lot like guilt. And that's when it hit me. She's afraid of him too. That realization crushed me harder than any of his rules. Later that evening, I heard the familiar hum of his Cybertruck pulling into the driveway. I stood in my room, gripping the doorknob, wondering if I should face him or hide. My heart was pounding like I only had seconds left to decide. I took a step forward. I walked into the living room. Dad was sitting in his chair, scrolling through his phone. The screen flashed with news about elections and politics. I took a deep breath and said, Dad, we need to talk. He didn't even look up. Talk. I started carefully. I know we don't agree on a lot, but I want to have friends. I want to go to concerts. That's important to me. That's when he suddenly snapped his head up. His eyes narrowed. You want to hang out with those dangerous people? The ones who could show up at school with a gun tomorrow. A chill ran down my spine. No, Dad, that's not it. It's just music. It's just my friends. He stood up. His voice grew louder. Just music? You don't even understand what's at stake. You think I forbid you for fun? I'm protecting you. You're still a child, and you don't know anything. I tried to argue, but he cut me off. As long as you live under my roof, you'll do what I say. Something inside me snapped. I blurted out, you don't want a son. You want a soldier for your party. Mom, listening from the kitchen, dropped her cup. The crash of ceramic hitting the floor sliced through the air like thunder. Silence followed. Dad stared at me like I had betrayed him. And I thought, that's it. Now he'll forbid me everything. But instead of yelling, he smiled. And that smile was way scarier than his rage. All right, Jake, if you want freedom so badly, prove you deserve it. I froze, not understanding what he meant. Then he added, you have 2 days to show me you can think the right way. Otherwise, forget your friends and concerts forever. 2 days. That became my timer. My deadline. I sat in my room, staring at the clock, feeling time slipping through my fingers. I had no idea what he meant by think the right way. Bring him proof? Pretend I was reading his news? Or just surrender and fake agreement? Then something happened I didn't expect. The next day, one of my friends texted me, "Hey, we're going to a concert in Austin. You have to come. Last chance before school starts." I sat there, phone in hand, realizing, if I go, I break my dad's ultimatum. If I don't, I lose everything that makes life worth it. And right then, Dad walked into my room. He looked at the phone in my hands and said, "So, have you made your choice?" I was trapped. On one side, friends, music, my freedom. On the other, my father, ready to take everything away forever. Now I have just 2 days to decide who I'll be, his son under his rules, or myself, even if it means losing my home. So, Reddit, if you were me, would you risk going to the concert, knowing your father might kick you out? I sat in my room, staring at my phone screen. The message from my friend burned in front of me. Last chance. We're waiting for you. And in my ears, my dad's words kept echoing. You have 2 days. Prove you can think the right way. It was my last year of high school. My last chance to feel like I had friends and a life of my own before everything changed. Inside me, a war was raging. If I stayed home, I'd keep a roof over my head but lose myself. If I went, I risked everything. That evening, my mom walked into my room. She brought a blanket, like I was a little kid again. She sat down next to me and whispered, "Jake, I know music matters to you, but please don't provoke him. You know how he can snap." I looked at her and asked, "Did you ever live the way you wanted to?" She lowered her eyes and stayed silent. The next day, the decision came. My friends texted again. "We're already on the way. Are you coming?" I heard the front door slam downstairs. My dad was back from work. The sound of his heavy footsteps came closer and closer up the stairs. And I realized, it's now or never. I jumped up, grabbed my jacket, and ran out the back door. The cold air hit my face. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like the whole neighborhood could hear it. I got into my friend's car, and we sped off toward Austin. In that moment, for the first time in a long time, I felt free. The concert was incredible. The crowd jumped, the guitars roared, and I stood in the middle of it all thinking, this is what I live for. I felt like I was part of something bigger. And for the first time in months, I was smiling for real. But the happiness didn't last. When I came home after the concert, my dad was already waiting in the living room. He was sitting in the dark, the only light coming from the TV where the news was playing. "You made your choice," he said. And then came something I didn't expect. I braced myself for yelling, punishments, maybe even being kicked out. But instead, he just stood up, looked at me, and said, "If you think you know life better than me, go ahead. In a few months, you'll be 18. Then live however you want. But while you're here, no concerts, no friends. You chose this." And he walked away to bed, leaving me standing in silence. I went upstairs and realized, officially, I had lost. I had a few hours of freedom. And now, months of silence and isolation. But deep down, I knew that despite his rules, I had made the right choice. I chose myself. Now I live with a heavy feeling inside. My dad doesn't speak to me directly anymore, only through my mom. But I still carry the memory of that night when I was truly myself. Yes, I lost my freedom at home, but I gained the certainty that once I turn 18, I'll leave and I'll build the life I want. So, Reddit, would you risk losing your family's trust just to stay true to yourself? Or would you give up your freedom for the sake of peace at home?